What's up, guys? Welcome back to Comics Are Dope. I'm BJ Kicks, and this is the Hangout. This is the live stream we do every Thursday at about 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And hey, if you're watching this on the replay, first of all, I appreciate you. Hopefully, you can join us live next week or, maybe the week after that. We're every Thursday at 7. And if you are watching this live, thank you for being here. Looks like Bunkmaster B's here. Always want to know if murder needs a hook. Mentor Prizes is here. By the way, Mentor Prizes, M Enterprises, actually like YouTube's. He has a channel. I didn't know that this whole time. He's been hanging around our community. But he did a video a couple days ago about his sort of hypothesis, his theories, what's his solution to the DC animated universe? Like, what's wrong with the animated universe over at DC? So check that out. Pretty insightful commentary. Pretty much everything he said, I agree 100% with. So that's cool. Yo, we got a birthday in the house. Gabriel is 18 today. Happy birthday, dog. I can't sing, but happy birthday. What's up, Tim? Tim's here. Tom's here. Carson's out with the fam, so he's going to watch the replay. No worries, sir. Rerum is here. Third like. Nice. I appreciate it. Also appreciate the first two, whoever those were. So yeah, very cool. Menterprise is breaking down all the comic entertainment news on his channel. So yeah, go there for that, because I don't do a ton of comics entertainment news. I'll kind of look and survey here and there, but I'm not the one for the MCU quick takes and, hey, did you watch the latest episode of WandaVision or whatever it is? I tend to watch that stuff like way later on a binge. A binge. That's a weird way to call it. But I guess if comics are dope, then you would binge comic content. But yeah, so follow Menterprises for those types of reactions. JP's here. Since I've watched a ton of your lives, but this is my first one actually live. Thanks. That's what's up. That means my intro works. And every time I do it, I'm always like, who watches on the replay? But if you knew that I was doing it at 7, that means you must have watched the intro enough times to be like, I'm going to make it. So thanks, JP. Good to see you here, man. Yeah, everybody is shouting Gabe out for his birthday. By the way, Gabe is a member of the K Squad on both Facebook and Discord, and he does some really awesome woodworking, like wood burning. So support his business if you're into like nice custom comic book art. I need to grab some myself, so I'll be hitting you up, sir. Okay, cool. I was just making sure I didn't miss anyone's comments. Oh, what's up, Doug? How's it going, man? Manifest Destiny. I've heard that's a good book. But yeah, man. So we've got a fairly packed show tonight. I say packed. It's gonna be an easygoing episode compared to some others where we kind of pack in a ton of reviews or a ton of news. I have not had a ton of time to read comics lately, or this week anyway. I read a couple of books for this week, but haven't gotten to like all of the most anticipated books on my reading pile, right? So haven't finished the latest issue of Power Turtles. Also, I dropped my book and didn't even realize it. So there's like my cover is now imperfect. But yeah, man. Black Adam number 8. Haven't gotten a chance to get to that one yet. Haven't gotten a chance to crack open Immoral X-Men number 1 just yet. And there's plenty of others that I didn't read, but we'll talk about the ones I did read here in a second. What's up, Hydrus? What's up? Love your channel. Hope you read some great comics this week. I haven't had a lot of time either. The comics that I did read, I enjoyed very much so far. Spoiler alert. First time on live. Oh, snap. Thank you for joining us as well. For plugging videos on other channels, I heard Bunkmaster B has dropped a video about big old oversized comics that aren't DC Absolutes. I didn't even get that notification. Let me go make sure my bell notifications are on your channel, Bunkmaster B. Bunk. Oh, yep, and there it is, the little notification light. It's just sitting there in blue. 5 big oversized comics that aren't DC Absolutes. Let me add that to my watch later. And boom, just put all notifications on. So it's all good. So far, the best comic I've read this week is the newest Deceased issue. Haven't read that yet either. But we'll talk about it here in a second. Before we go much further in the show, I do want to give some shout outs, for the people that keep the lights on around here. So first off, to the channel family, all our members, old and new, whether you have subscribed on the squad level or the channel family level, you are appreciated. These are the co-producers. These are the people who have, decided to give a small monthly donation to the channel to, like I said, help me keep the lights on around here, buy new equipment. I bought a new microphone last week. I was annoyed that I had to do it, but I did it. And yeah, so you guys help furnish the upgrades around here. So I much appreciate you. And of course, another huge shout out to our channel sponsor, Organic Price Books. They decided to extend their anniversary sale. So OPB is 2 years old this month. So they're having an anniversary sale. Almost everything in stock is basically buy two, get one half off. So the OPB prices are already pretty comparable to all the other discount retailers. The buy two, get it half off is now makes it a little bit cheaper than everyone else to get some of the stuff you've been missing out on. So take advantage of that sale. You can use code BJKicks at checkout. Although the BJ Kicks discount doesn't apply if you're using items on this in this sale, because it's a different discount code and it's a better discount code. So just go there, get your discount, and have fun doing it. And any other time you can use my discount code and it helps the channel out. So thanks OPB for sponsoring the video. And that's all of the housekeeping and bill paying we got to do right here. Tim says you're welcome. Oh, for the birthday love, I assume. Valzad is here. Says, hey, what's up? How's it going, Valzad? Valzad, you're the one that bought something from me, The Punisher. Hope you're enjoying it. Hope you're enjoying it. And Skip is here. He says, yup. I don't even know what he was agreeing with, but hey. We never talk about how Skip's avatar kind of looks like me, which is funny, but it's clearly not me. His beard connects, mine doesn't. So yeah, man, it's going to be a fairly light episode because, like I said, I didn't get to read a ton of comics. I did see a ton of comics news. So I wanted to start off talking about some of that. And give me a second to pull up everything I want to talk about. And we'll get to it. By the way, Something is Killing the Children is going to be adapted into a Netflix series. I feel like that news came out already, but it's in the news again this week. So maybe there's something specific that wasn't public knowledge before. There's one more piece of news that I wanted to look at. I'll just have to go to Marvel's website to find that. Of course, it's not on the front page. Come on. Boom. There we go. So now that I've got all my news pulled up, let's share screens. Skip J Kicks. That's hilarious. They announced new show writers, I think. Got it. Okay, cool. Yes, Ultimate Universe. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about a bunch of news, but let's start off with something light. So, Skybound just announced that they are going ahead with, okay, let's close the ad. How about that? That's a lot of ads. This is the problem. Oh my gosh. This is the problem with most comic book journalism right now. Like, it doesn't pay anything. The views aren't all that high, so you got to resort to like covering your pages with a million ads, to justify doing it. Crazy stuff. Anyway, Skybound is announcing that they are going back to print on the Invincible Library Edition. So I don't know how many of you guys collect the big, huge, oversized hardcovers, but with those oversized hardcovers, Invincible got 3 library editions, which are basically the size of DC Absolutes, and then they kind of discontinued the line. And so previously, if you wanted Invincible in an oversized hardcover, you had to just stick with the 12 volume Ultimate Collections, which are the size of a regular deluxe hardcover or omnibus. They're that same height. But now they've announced, and per Ryan Otley, yes, the right Ryan, per Ryan Otley, they just weren't selling well enough before, but now that the animated series is there bringing all the hype, they're going back to print. So they just announced volume 4 of the library hardcovers. If I'm not mistaken, volume 1 was resolicited and is going back to print. So I assume that the library edition, volume 2 and 3, will be reprinted as well. But you can get the complete library hardcover on October 18th. I don't know when the final order cutoff is, but generally, final order cutoff for these hardcovers is like a few months in advance. So I'll keep you in the loop when I find out that date. But you'll be able to get the complete library hardcover volume 1 on the same day. So October 18th, you can get volumes 1 and 4 of these library editions, and stay tuned for updates about volume 2 and 3. So that's cool stuff. Let's see. There are too many good comic writers named Ryan. Word. So yeah, that's one piece of news. Another piece of news is one that I actually haven't read yet. I literally just saw the headline and was like, that sounds interesting. So we'll talk about it. So DC announces the Night Terrors horror event for this July. I have to say that one of the most fun things about the Dawn of DC announcement was like people turning up the brightness on the image, that timeline image, to try to see everything that might have been hidden from plain sight. And a lot of people guessed that the event would be called Night Terrors. So congrats to whoever guessed it. But they've actually revealed the event, which will be starting in July. And it's a horror event. So Josh Williamson and Howard Porter are going to send Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman into the nightmare realm. They'll need the help of Deadman to save the world from its own nightmares. Interesting. In addition to the main event, there will be multiple 2-issue miniseries from yet to be announced creative teams. And those are going to take over the line. Each miniseries will feature a different hero or villain as they confront their greatest fears in the nightmare realm. What happens in the nightmare realm doesn't stay in the nightmare realm necessarily. But we'll get a preview. We'll get our first preview of the Night Terrors event during Free Comic Book Day, which this year is May the 6th. I'm really excited about Free Comic Book Day. Free Comic Book Day is always like special to me because it's the day I got into comics. So it's my comics anniversary. So I always make a big deal of Free Comic Book Day. Some interesting covers. I'm not a big fan of like the Francisco Mattina like video game looking covers, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of horror as a genre, at least not like on TV and stuff. I find that horror comics can actually be interesting, or yeah, that whole kind of genre. There's so many subgenres to horror, but yeah. See, Skip says a DC event that Kicks will definitely not have to worry about buying. Right. Yeah, I don't really do horror like that. I'm not big on demons. I'm not big on any of those things. I will most likely grab well, I need to know, is it taking over the line? Like, instead of Batman, will Night Terror's Batman be all that's coming out? If that's the case, I'll probably end up at least buying the Batman versions of it. But yeah, I tend to be hesitant when it comes to horror. I'm better with horror comics than I am with horror like movies. Cause like horror movies is like a straight up no for me. But but anyway, da, 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 da. Why is the manga on the same announcement? All right. Um, this is basically, yeah, it says the horror focused event will take over the DC publishing line in July and August. Yeah, that does sound like probably not my bag. And then the rest of this announcement is for Superman or DC manga. Yeah. Yeah, let me know if y'all are excited about it. Like I said, I'll probably pick up the main Night Terrors #1 or whatever and go from there. Wonder if this will be under DC Black Label. Sounds like it's on the main DC publishing line. If it was a Black Label, Black Label for one doesn't get events. They get like out of continuity stories, period. But yeah, it sounds like it's going to be in the main thing. It also feels like, I don't know. This definitely, it feels like left field for sure. This kind of feels like, so now that we've read Ten of Swords, it feels like a departure in that way. Like, yeah, it's a big event, but you know it's not going to really have big ramifications. And I don't know. It's just like it's like a sidestep rather than a push forward, which is interesting because it's definitely the midway point of this big dawn of DC and something that we're supposed to be building towards. So we'll see what kind of news comes out around this as time goes on. Tayshawn is late, but he's here. What's up, dude? What's up? Tayshawn's got, I've been shouting out everybody with content that I know of. Tayshawn's got a pretty dope Instagram. I think it's called And Other Things. There's an underscore somewhere. But he basically talks about comics as well as music, and he makes pretty nice like reels and stuff. Skip says, I want to watch Kix watch a scary movie so I can hear him screaming embarrassingly high octaves. Yeah, for me, it's been so long since I've watched a scary movie of any kind. There's never really screams, but I don't know, man. I don't enjoy being afraid. Like, that's just not a thing that I enjoy. Horror movies and like TV and stuff, because there's so much like, movies are such an immersive thing, right? It's dark, you're focused on one area. They got the loud music and all the different things. Like, they know how to keep you feeling crazy, and it's just not a feeling that I like, you know. I'm not seeing Get Out again. Call me a lightweight, whatever. When I hear a movie is like horror first or horror focused or whatever, I'm generally like, nah, I'm good. I have Get Out. I think I bought it in like a $5 bin at Walmart, or I somehow acquired Get Out, like the digital code. Never watched it. Gotham Knight / Terror Titans. Night Terror. I did not already cover the Superman issue. You know, we got to save the best for last, right? You know, while everybody's getting their coffee and their drinks and stuff, we'll talk about all the other stuff. Skip says, for the cultural aspects alone, it's worth the discomfort. Word. You know, and again, like, there's some horror that's like more palatable to me than others, but as a general rule, I'm just like, I kind of skip it all entirely. But like, I can do like a slasher type movie. But even those, like, it's just like, I don't know. Now I got kids. Like, in general, my rule is I only turn stuff on TV like that I don't mind my kids walking into, you know? Um, so if I miss out, I miss out, is how I feel. Only horror movies I've seen are the OG Psycho as well as Halloween Ends. When I was a kid, I saw like Jeepers Creepers, I think Wrong Turn, um, Scream. I saw at least 3 of the Scream movies. And I think that's as far as it got. I've never done like the demon movies, like the possessed dolls, the ghosts, the paranormal activity. I can't do that. I did watch what did I watch? That was the movie that broke me from horror movies. I watched The Exorcism of Emily Rose, which didn't feel like horrific. It was just like weird and like demonic and like, is that the one where like she had a baby and like it exploded or like it was just crazy. Anyway, Positive Vibes says, "What's up, everyone? What's up, Positive Vibes? I appreciate Positive Vibes." They have a new Scream movie coming out this year. Word, I don't plan on watching it, but that's what's up. Horror isn't my thing either. I like the original Hellraiser. Yeah, man. There are so many movies I have no idea like what they even are because just stay away from that section of the store. Like if there was a Blockbuster today, I'd never walk into that corner of the room. You know? Watch during the day with the blinds wide open and white noise on in the background if you have to. Yeah, that's my issue with Jordan Peele movies in general. Like you always hear a lot of like noise, not noise. You always hear a lot of praise, critical praise, because of the cultural aspects. But I'm just like, you know. I hate dolls. That movie called Megan ruined me. Yeah. Yeah, I'm never trying to watch a movie that's gonna have me looking at regular life differently. You know? That's my thing. I don't like I'm not trying to be like afraid of like, I don't know, a milk carton because there was an evil milk carton one time. You know, it's crazy. I do feel like most horror that I've seen is about more than like just the scare. Like they try to put like, good storytelling in there or whatever. It's just the destination isn't worth the journey for me in most cases. But that's a terrible aside. That's what happens when you don't read the article before you put it up. Favorite kind of horror lingers in your mind, not necessarily jump scares like the existential stuff. Lovecraft, some Stephen King, at least in novel form. Got you. I don't know. I can't. I'm not here to bash horror as a genre. I just don't. I don't like being afraid. I don't like the concept of like going to the theater to being like scared or to be scared is just interesting or not appealing to me. I'm sure there are layers, just like there's layers in like a lot of good comedies and all that. I think there's great moral lessons in pretty much all art because people use art to kind of, place their soapboxes. So I'm sure there's like horror with good elements and stuff like that. But yeah, my man says you like sleep. It's okay to say you like sleeping. Yeah, again, I don't want to watch a movie and then like be up like, yeah. But anyway, let's move on to the last news item that I wanted to bring up. And let's see. My bad. I'm always trying to do 2 things at once. Like these live streams are a gift and a curse because I enjoy the comments, but then I also get distracted by the comments. But okay, here we go. So we've got a new event coming from Jonathan Hickman. If I'm not mistaken, this is not the thing that Jonathan Hickman's been teasing for like ever, if I remember correctly. But anyway, Jonathan Hickman and Brian Hitch are bringing the Ultimate Invasion, transforming the Marvel Universe, starting in June of 2023. So basically 4 years from the time I got into comics. Ultimate Invasion. Now we can read about it now that we looked at the image. Two of the comic book industry's most innovative. All right, a lot of fluff. Ultimate Invasion, a relatively revolutionary 4-issue saga that presents a new chapter for Ultimate Comics and bold new strides for Marvel's iconic heroes. Ultimate Universe ended in Secret Wars, but nothing stays buried in Marvel for long. Is it time for the Ultimate Universe to make its grand return? The Maker seems to think so, and the Illuminati must form once again to stop him from his plans to destroy or perhaps rebuild the universe, with Miles Morales at the center of it all. Okay. So, yeah, this is clearly a callback to the time before I was ever in comics, but a lot of people are excited about it. A lot of people are excited about it. Are you serious? Okay. I'm annoyed by that. So I thought this wasn't the thing he was teasing because it was supposed to be Hickman and Valerio Schiti. How do you say his name? Hickman and Valerio. But instead they changed the artist to Brian Hitch. No knock against Brian Hitch, but from what I've seen of his work, I would have preferred Valerio. But yeah, man. So that's the big. I don't like having a wall of text on the screen. Let's just put this image here. That's the big news. Jonathan Hickman is bringing back, resurrecting, revisiting the Ultimate Universe with Brian Hitch, who was the artist on the Ultimates. So, there's connections all the way around. It's going to be a 4-issue series, and the Marvel Universe will be changed forever because everything's always changed forever. So, I gotta respond to my homies. But yeah. Skip says, I just finished going through all of Hickman's previous Ultimate comics, which would be the Ultimates, Ultimate Thor, and Ultimate Hawkeye. Hitch back on the Ultimate Universe. 2005 me is a little excited, I guess. Mr. Negative says, hope this doesn't interrupt the Miles ongoing, though. Probably will. Honestly, I don't mind Hickman interrupting whatever's going on with Miles. Like what Miles has going on right now at present is good. It's not groundbreaking. The art is what's really, really great about it. Cody Ziegler's telling a great story, but again, it's not like groundbreaking. It's not doing anything like crazy innovative. It's just giving Miles his own people to play around with. If Miles is at the center of a universe-changing event with a writer like Hickman, like I'm cool with that. So, yeah. Be Hitch greater than Valerio all day. Just give Hitch a top-notch colorist, and it'll be proper. Word. To be fair, I haven't seen a ton of Brian Hitch work. Trying to remember what series he's been on Venom. He's been on Venom, and it's been fine. He's got some questionable. There's a somebody threw out an image that he did of Calvin Ellis Superman, and I was like, bro, that hairline is crazy, but this looks awesome. Like this right here. Let's zoom in a little bit. Not mad at this image at all. So I trust it. And it's only 4 issues. Apparently Brian Hitch never does more than 8, 12 issues. I think they said his 16 issues of Venom was like a record, which sounds like not that high of a record, but hey, I like this image. So if the interiors look like this, cool. And if like most books, the interiors look slightly like this, but just a slight step down, also cool. This is right on par with anything, coming out of Marvel right now. So yeah, I can stop sharing my screen, I guess. So was never a big fan of the Ultimate books, but I'll check it out though. It definitely could be cool, says Mr. Negative. I'm gonna send you a video on Hitch. Cool. Who's excited? We have the NBA back tonight. Oh, the All-Star break's over? I guess the All-Star weekend is only a weekend. Who's playing tonight? I'm just curious to see if the Lakers are gonna like actually make it above the play-in. I don't think they are. I think they're gonna end up in the play-in, but it's gonna be fun watching all the news shows or whatever. All the sports commentators be like, "Hey, do you think the Lakers can go 18-4 for the next 4 weeks?" That'll be fun. I'm from Dave says Miles is a cool character with lackluster stories. I have faith that Hickman's going to change that. At the very least, Hickman will change the status quo enough and give people better things to play with surrounding Miles. And I think that's enjoyable. I mean, like that's all you could really ask for. Lakers have to go 14-9 to make the play-in. Not happening. I think they'll make the play-in. I don't think they'll make the 6th seed. Like, I don't think they'll miss the playoffs entirely. They're only like what? Apparently, there's like only like 4 games separating like the whole Western Conference, which is insane. But yeah. Also, you see the germ of what Hickman took over his. My man Skip's typing too fast. I'm trying. I'm trying so hard to decipher this message. I'm just gonna wait till he cleans it up. But if the point is, Hickman set up a ton of stuff that's still going on. We're still seeing ramifications of it from Hoxpox. And the X office has been decent, not great since he left, but there's things going on. And I saw him like, if that's what happens for Miles, great. See the Journal of what Hickman took over to his Hoxpox stuff. Oh, I think Skip is trying to explain. Okay, there we go. He's telling Lance why he should read the Ultimate books. And if you read Hickman's Ultimate books, and if you read Hickman's Ultimate books, you'll see the seeds of what ended up being planted in the Hoxpox. So there we go. Lakers playing Golden State at 10. Listen, dog, I'm a fake Lakers fan. Can't even lie. I'm a LeBron fan, but I'm not a LeBron fan enough to stay up watching West Coast games. I did watch him break Kareem's record, but that's about it. You decipher the code. Yeah, man. I just had to have additional context. I had to read the other comments. Tim says, "Go Celtics." If you say so. I've never been a Celtics fan. My best friend, like the best man at my wedding, he's a Celtics fan. Can't do it. Kings in the playoffs. I'm genuinely happy for any Kings fans that I know, which is exactly one person. Congrats, Skip. But yeah, I'm not a Lakers fan enough to stay up watching, random Thursday night games that start at 10 p.m. That game ain't gonna be over till like 1 a.m. Can't do it. Exactly, Tim. What did Tim say? Oh, go Celtics. I thought you were a Cavs fan. But anyway, all right. So we talked about all the news I wanted to talk about. Now let's get to I didn't even put the little in the news tag up. I'm tripping. But there. We finished in the news, and now let's get to some comic reviews. Let's get to some comic reviews. So this week I read a few books, but not a ton of them. Of course, we're gonna get to Superman #1 last, but first, I picked this up. This wasn't on my list at all, but I decided to grab it because it's James Tynion. It's a #1 issue, and I like Michael Avon Oeming's art. So Blue Book #1 from James Tynion and Michael Avon Oeming. I can't remember the letter's name. Bidikar? Something Bidikar. But anyway, basically is a book about an alien invasion. This husband and wife are driving in their car, and the wife is convinced that she's looking at a UFO. The husband's trying to convince her it's not a UFO. It's a UFO, and that's kind of that's the issue. There is also a backup story. I didn't read it, but as far as the A story, it was fine, and the art was fine. Apparently, it's based on a true story, which is interesting, but I'm not necessarily into like alien conspiracies and stuff. It's kind of the same reason I never really got into Department of Truth, even though everyone was raving about it, especially like the first 10, 15 issues. I read it and it was cool. It was cool like to reference real life events, but I like more escaping, but not, I don't know. Escapism isn't really the word. It's just something. I don't know. I just don't care about alien conspiracy theories. Is the bottom line. But it was a good book. It looked good. The colors. I mean, I said the colors are good. It's literally just these colors. It's black and blue, except for small spots where it's not. And it was interesting. It was a good read. It was paced well, and it was. I like it. I liked it. Aditya Bidikar. Got it. Yeah, I like being taken to other worlds and reading comics. I don't want to feel like I'm reading a book and it's like just kind of, I don't know, diving down some weird like message board territory, like weird subreddits and stuff. So that's it. That's it. But I can't even say like I can't even say I don't like the real world reference. One of my favorite books right now is GCPD, The Blue Wall. And that very much feels like it could be like any city USA, although slightly sensationalized. Right. So this trip just wasn't for me. At least not in the way that I feel like I have to read every issue on release day. I think I could buy this in trade and enjoy it well enough for what it is and kind of put it back on the shelf. Like, oh, that was cool. So it was good. Just not, I didn't really need it. I'd give it a 7. My ratings are so arbitrary, but I give it a 7. The book that I read first this week, you probably guessed it, was Darkwing Duck, issue #2. No, that's not the book I read first. That's the physical book I read first. I read Superman first, but Darkwing Duck #2, I read that one yesterday. Amanda Dibert and Carlo Loro. That's the cover A by David Nakayama. That's the cover I didn't buy. I did buy this cover though by, I always forget his name, Greg Cambadais. This guy's the interior artist on Gargoyles. So I bought that cover, and then I bought the Mirka Andolfo cover with Darkwing on top of the car. So I bought the issue twice. Enjoyed it. So like my gut reaction was like I like this issue more than the last issue, but I like Megavolt as a villain far more than I like Quackerjack. But this definitely still felt like an episode of the TV show, straight up. The one knock I had about this issue, I can't get into without really, well, I mean, yeah, I can. It's not a spoiler. Basically, there's like a point in the book where there's like 2 to 3 pages of Darkwing and Goslin like kind of talking to each other during a, semi-dangerous situation, in which you're supposed to believe it's happening really quickly, or at least I guess you're supposed to assume it's happening really quickly. But in that time, I'm just like, well, where the heck is Quackerjack? And why is he not taking advantage of the fact that they're just sitting there talking right now? But other than that, great issue. Love the dialogue. Love the voices of the characters. Loved everything about it. Honestly, 8 out of 10 for me on Darkwing. The art is really good too. Doug liked Blue Book, especially the art. I loved the art in Blue Book. And I didn't dislike the book. I didn't think there was anything it did wrong or anything like that. Like there wasn't any glaring issues with it. It was well paced. I loved the art. I loved the like they introduced the characters. Like it's very much sounds like, you know, real life events because it is retelling real life events, apparently famous real life events I just never heard of. I just don't care as much about alien invasions. How many issues are there of Blue Book? Blue Book is it's a Substack book that Tynan has been releasing for a minute. Like I feel like I've seen a bunch of panels from Blue Book. This is just it being collected for the first time in single issues. But to answer the question, Blue Book. Oh, and it was $5. That was why I was annoyed because it was $5. It didn't need to be $5. They've got 4 issues solicited so far, but I don't know how far it's gonna go. Interesting. Honestly, though, like I'm saying this like I didn't need to read it. These covers look great, and it still looks interesting. Like as I'm looking, let me share. Let me show you what I'm looking at. So I'm sitting here just looking through the solicits on each issue of Blue Book, and it looks more and more intriguing. The way I feel is I don't need to pay $5 for this. It wasn't like enough story for it to like need to be $5 to me, but there was nothing that was like badly done or poorly done on it. I'm a holdout. I'm a holdout and buy it in trade, but I think if you're into alien invasions, especially if you're like into like sort of true life, like unsolved mysteries type thing, like this will be up your alley. And it's not, I keep saying this, it's not a book that's done badly at all. So cool stuff. It's about Betty and Barney Hill, who are apparently like real people that had an alien encounter of some sort. Whoops. I made them full screen and not me. Bearded says Darkwing has been great. Thanks for showing up, Bearded. Yeah, Darkwing has been really good. Grew up on Disney Afternoon, DuckTales. Woo. Yeah, I grew up on Disney Afternoon as well. By the way, so I told you guys a couple weeks ago that on FOC was the Disney Afternoon Adventures Volume 2, featuring like Tailspin on the cover, but Darkwing, Care Bears, all that stuff will be in that book. In the solicits this month is, where's my previews catalog? Wait, I bought it online. I can show it online. But basically, they're doing a previews, talking while I'm trying to type. But they're doing a One Saturday Morning book, which is just great. So let me pull it up. I didn't know they had comics from the Disney One Saturday Morning. So Disney One Saturday Morning Adventures is coming out. I'll share this tab instead. So we got Doug, Pepper Ann, Recess, Teacher's Pet, Buzz Lightyear, Star Command, Goofy, Winnie the Pooh. A bunch of stuff. A bunch of these things are going to be in this hardcover. So between this, Disney's One Saturday Morning, and the Disney Afternoon, that is like my entire childhood. So I'm absolutely buying this. I mean, we're getting Recess in comics, and that's enough for a video all of its own. So if you think my Darkwing mania is going crazy, wait till this book drops. I digress. But yeah, Blue Book is good. Just not anything I need to grab in single issue. So that's probably the last time I'll review it. And then the next book I read, Gargoyles, issue number 3. I am glad that I stuck with Gargoyles because this issue made things a little bit clearer. It's funny when I talked about how I just wasn't, or when I did my new comic book day video, the pull list video, excuse me. I talked about how Gargoyles like this did not feel like it was written for a newcomer at all. And through 2 issues, it definitely doesn't. But then the first thing you get when you open up issue 3 is an introduction. Here's who I am. Here's who this person is. Here's who that person is. And here's what's happened so far. And I was like, yo, that's all I needed. And now I understand better what's happening. And I was able to enjoy it a lot more because of that. There's definitely still stuff that's introduced in here that is like, I'm sure if I watched the show, I would be more familiar and understand better or whatever. My dog is barking, which means typically someone's at the door. Hold on. All right. Yeah, I don't know what that's about. But yeah. So you basically get like a resolution to the rising tension that we've gotten in the last 2 issues, and then the introduction of like new action. But yeah, I'm glad I stuck with Gargoyles because this issue was good and enjoyable. I think all the issues before were good. They were well done. I was just confused. But this one demystified the last 2 and set up a new story in an interesting way. So I'll give this one also. I don't need to hold it up. It's on the screen. I'll give Gargoyles number 3 an 8 out of 10 as well. Pretty good. Doug says the Klaus Janson art in the backup story of Blue Book was really good. Nice. And then what else did I read this week? Power Rangers Ninja Turtles number 3. I didn't read it all the way yet. I read like the first 4 pages. I just needed to show off this cover. Again, because I liked it a lot. And so I just put it on the screen because I liked it. If that cover is not still available at your shop, I hope you can find it somewhere because it just looks so great in person. This was my cover of the week. But yeah, Power Turtles number 3. And of course, the topic of today's discussion, we are talking about Superman issue number 1. Was it good? Was it worth it? How is it? And you know, I try to keep these things completely spoiler free. This one will be mostly spoiler free. Like, again, if you're the type that doesn't want to hear any details about anything ever, this is probably a time to, jump off. But I'm going to keep all the main plot points sewn up so that it's still an enjoyable read for you when you pick it up. But got to talk about it at least enough to tell you if it's good or what I liked about it. So Superman issue number 1, written by Joshua Williamson with art by Jamal Campbell, was good. I didn't get a chance to sit down and do like a my full-on release day review that I got like I've been doing for the last few weeks, but I did a quick YouTube short with just my gut reaction. I think my gut reaction was 8 out of 10. I might be willing to bump that up to like 8.5, 9 out of 10 territory. But let me give my complete spoiler-free thoughts first, and I'll let you know if there's like any sort of mild spoiler action. As a matter of fact, let me get a spoiler tag ready to go on the screen in case I do. All right. So if I'm gonna spoil, this will be on the screen. But as long as it's not, you're good. I gotta edit this. I gotta fix my title caps. Oh, I like this better. Anyways, non-spoilers. Tim's gonna head out early. Good night. Good night, sir. Good night. Yeah, we're gonna wrap this up here soon too. But spoiler-free thoughts. I thought it was a good introduction to Superman, a good introduction or good reintroduction to Superman. There are a couple of status quo changes that are pretty good. But it's this issue is basically designed to be a jumping in point. And that's kind of my only knock against it, is that like I feel like the last 3 Superman issues, Action 1050, Action 1051, and then this, are all meant to be jumping on points. And I'm like, at some point we got to move the story forward, right? But this gives us a jumping in point. This follows up from Action Comics 1050 and 1051. So if you are not aware, and it's not really important to be aware, but for the last year and a half, almost 2 years, but the last year and a half, Superman has been off world. He's been on War World fighting to enslave, or not to enslave, to free enslaved citizens on War World. So that battle's been won. There's been ramifications. There's been stuff going on from that. But hold on. Okay. There's been stuff going on from that. All you really need to know from there is that Superman brought 2 kids back from War World, who, if I'm not mistaken, are Kryptonian somehow, or Kryptonian-esque. And so he's brought them back to Metropolis, and he's raising them as his kids, basically. They're known colloquially as the Super Twins, even though they're not twins. They're not referenced in this issue, but you just might need to know that in case you're reading Action Comics or something else and you're like, who the heck are these kids? That's who they are. War World refugees. But anyway, Superman is finally back on Metropolis, or back on World and in Metropolis. And Brian Michael Bendis had revealed his secret identity for a time, like right when I was getting into comics. Superman's identity was revealed. Without spoiling how, I'll tell you that that's been put back in the box. So no one knows that Superman is Clark Kent anymore. And in this issue, we're kind of getting some of the results of that. Actually, I will tell you, because you're going to need this information prior to reading Superman #1. In case you want to read it for yourself, I won't tell you how the identity gets put back in the box, but I will tell you that a part of the ramification is that anyone who is presented with the idea that Clark Kent is Superman, like, something will happen and they physically won't be able to handle it, right? So somewhere in Action Comics 1050 or 1051, 1050, whichever one it was, Perry White is told that Clark Kent is Superman, and his brain like shuts down. And so he's off somewhere recovering, and we've got a new editor-in-chief at the Daily Planet. I'll let you read the issue to find out who it is. But that's really all you needed to know. Perry White's off the table because of Superman's identity being put back. And now, Superman #1 by Josh Williamson and Jamal Campbell. Basically, Superman is back in Metropolis, saving the world, doing Superman things, and bright, shiny armor, and not armor, it's a super suit. And Lex Luthor is trying to assist him in his helping Metropolis. And he's like, hey man, you gotta listen to me. You gotta just take my suggestions. Lex, finds a way to assist Superman, and it's almost like, that's not quite like your little brother, right? But it kind of reads like a an annoying little brother, like, hey, let me help. Hey, I can show you how to do something. I can do something. And Superman's kind of like, yo, man, just like chill out, get out of my ear, like leave me alone. Like I got this. But toward the end of the issue, or toward in the middle, I guess, Lex has a proposition for Superman. And it kind of causes Superman to think about how he's been treating Lex and how he should be treating Lex in the future. All of this while new threats are being revealed. And yeah, so it sets the tone for the series. This is very much going to be a Superman and Superman family story, but also a Superman and Lex story. And I'm all the way here for it because we know that Lex is Lex, or we assume that Lex is Lex and Lex is evil and Lex has an angle. And we don't know what the angle is yet, but there is an angle. And when it all hits the fan, it's going to be I don't even know the word. But yeah, we know it's going to come to a head. We don't know how. But the way it opens up this new opportunity for Superman and Lex to redefine their relationship, I thought was really good. And yeah, definitely an interesting new dynamic. And then how else I want to say this? Is there anything I want to spoil? Yeah, so we got a new status quo. We also get a nice subtle introduction to Superman, like without ever. That's what I'll do. We'll talk about the art before I spoil anything at all, right? So Jamal Campbell's on art this issue, or for this series, and I should upload an image. I promise it won't be a spoilery issue or image, but I gotta show you what I'm talking about because it's that important that you see just how good Joshua Williamson's art is. Is this image a spoiler? Let me open it up separately first. Oh no, it's not. It's not. So this is an example, probably not the best example, but an example of the Josh Williamson art. If I'm not mistaken, Josh does like digital pencils and colors and everything. Like all of it is Josh. And it's just good. Let's see. There's another page I can show you without spoiling because it's pretty much the beginning of the book. And is there a way for me to, what if I present the issue instead of, it's got to be PowerPoint. That's dumb. How about this? Bear with me, guys. All right. So here we go. This is Josh Williamson's art. Or not Josh Williams. This is Jamal Campbell's art. And this is Superman versus Live Wire. And it just looks dope. So there you go. That's one page. But see, you can see that Lex is talking to Soups and he's like, yo, shut up. So the art is just awesome. There is one page where, or there are quite a few pages where you get just Clark and he's not in any sort of costume. And you just get to see like just how big he is. It's like, yo, like, why is Clark so huge? But I mean, he's Superman. Of course he's going to be big. But yeah, JP says, I love the art. Thought the facial expressions were fantastic. Art was amazing. I like art in this more than I like Dan Mora's Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers. I agree. I just think I like Jamal Campbell's art more, but I feel like Dan Mora just gets to shine in Power Turtles because there's more action scenes. There's more like fun things to draw. This issue had to like balance action and exposition. So, but when it's hitting, it's hitting. And the art is good all the way throughout, whether it's a super action packed page or a relatively pedestrian page. So I was down for it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I just realized I can just like open up the comic because I bought it digitally instead of looking for screenshots. Bear with me, guys. It's been a long week. I'm tired. It's taking me forever to realize super regular things. Where we at? So here's Josh William or Jamal Campbell's wraparound cover for issue 1, right? And like I said, this book is basically a an introduction to everything we got going on here, right? Dang, now that I've read the issue, it's not a spoiler. You don't know it. You don't know why any of these people are here. But anyway, you get Soups, you got Lex, Lois, Jimmy, Perry, the police chief dude, Mercy. So yeah, cool stuff. And I don't want to do this. Yeah. All right, here we go. Here's a better example of Josh or Jamal Campbell's art. So again, that's what I was talking about, like the subtle introduction, right? Like you get this sort of, hey, here's baby Superman, rocket crash landing onto Earth, being raised by John and Martha. Oh, look, here's Lex Luthor. They're both in Smallville. Oh, look, it's a super suit. Oh, snap. Clark moved to Metropolis. And now here we are. Right. So I thought that was a really cool way to retell the story without retelling the story. And my goodness, looking at this art again, I'm like, sheesh. It's excellent. It's excellent. This art is a 10 out of 10. And this is everything I was hoping it would be when I was like, yo, somebody put Joshua Williams or Jamal Campbell on a AAA superhero book. Like, yeah, Far Sector was great. Yeah, Naomi is great. But I want to see this dude drawing Superman, Batman, Green Lantern, somebody. And yeah, does not disappoint. And I can't show you anything else. This is as much as I can show you without spoiling the issue. So there's that. And yeah, it's funny because I give my gut reactions to books, and like my gut reaction was like, oh, this was good. But like looking at it again, I'm like, this is excellent. Like, this is easily a 9 out of 10, maybe a 10. The only thing that kind of sort of ruined it for me, and didn't ruin anything at all. Spoilers being spoken, by the way. Well, actually, I can say this without spoiling it. Does it count? I'm just extra cautious when it comes to spoilers. But look, the one thing that got me was that the way Lex tries to help Superman, it reminded me a lot of the first issue of Joshua Williamson's Batman run. Josh Williamson did like one arc on Batman during Infinite Frontier, and it involved Lex like somehow taking over Batman Inc. And to be fair, I didn't read the rest of the arc, so who knows how similar this ends up being. But because this reminded me so much of that issue, I was like, oh, this is great, but it feels like I've read it before, just with different characters. So that was the reason I gave this an 8, because other than that, the story was great, pacing was great, the art was excellent. It just felt like I'd read it already before. So I thought Campbell's art was tremendous. Definitely my book of the week among a ton of great books. It's my favorite book this week so far. Interested in seeing what direction they have planned for the super family. John Kent, Kara Steele, Connor. Hope they show up as supporting cast as well as in their own titles. They will. So Josh Williamson says that Action Comics is going to feature Connor pretty heavily here in the next few months. Kara, I hadn't heard much about Kara. She showed up in, well, no, that was a Power Girl backup in Action Comics. I imagine she'll show up in Action Comics as well. Action Comics is basically supposed to be like the Superman family book, much like Tiniest Detective Comics was the Batman family book during Rebirth. Steel is getting his own book, or the Steels are getting their own book. The Steels being John Henry and Natasha Irons. But yeah, and John Kent was in Action Comics. He's getting his own book as well, The Adventures of Superman John Kent, where he's gonna be hopping around from multiverse to multiverse. So it's a great time to be a Superman fan. I really loved the way that Lex like presents a new problem for Superman. Like, you know how Lex is always doing stuff like if you like Justice League the animated series and you liked how Lex was always scheming and like just doing stuff that would make Superman look bad, and like just he's always maneuvering himself in a way that Superman has to pay attention and handle him, right? Like, you don't get to ignore it. You don't get to just do something else. Like, you gotta deal with this head on, or there are ramifications. I love that you got that in this issue, and it felt benign. Like it felt conniving, but like it wasn't the obviously evil plan. I love that. Definitely a fun read. The book got me to add it to my pull list, and I hate Superman. Listen, man. What's funny is like I'm a very recent Superman. What's the word? So the last 6 months have been like if I were to take a Superman appreciation class, right? Like art appreciation or drama appreciation. And they're like, you know what? We're gonna go through all these classics. You're gonna read A Streetcar Named Desire, and I don't remember any of the books they told me to read in drama appreciation. I was there because I thought it was an easy A, and I legit got a D in that class because I was not appreciative of the drama. But this last 6 months has been like a crash course in like all the greatest Superman stories, and I wouldn't call myself like a Superman super fan, but I would call myself a fan, or at the very least, like, I appreciate Superman. I appreciate a good Superman story, and this has all the makings of a good Superman story. All you really got to do to get me to read a Superman story is involve Lex Luthor somehow. But give it space for all the good attributes to come out. One thing I liked in this issue, and again, mild spoilers, right? So I'm reading this issue, and Superman is talking to Lex, or Lex is talking to Superman. I'm trying to figure out how, why, right? And I'm thinking that Lex has like some sort of like communicator on Superman, but no. Superman explains that he just has tuned in to certain voices and listens for certain voices more than anyone else. So like his family, the Justice League, and Lex. Like, he keeps an ear on Lex all the time, and Lex just knows this. So he's talking as if they're just on like some kind of private channel. And I was like, yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. It's stuff like that, and I think just adds to the Superman mythos. That's like, okay, I like that. I can appreciate that. Gabe read Batman vs. Predator this week. Reread Batman Spawn War Devil and Spawn Batman. Great books, all of them. DC's lucky it didn't get into bed with Disney. Why is that? That seems like such a random comment. I'm trying to follow you though, so let me know, Oduff. But yeah, so what was I gonna say? Oh, so my gut reaction to this issue was like, it was good. It wasn't great though. Then going back and doubling back, what I realized was there were a lot of things in this book like that. If you're a Superman fan, you're gonna love. Like there were a lot of little callbacks and Easter eggs and um, just little things, little notes, little nods to Superman lore. That if you're a Superman fan, you're patient enough or you're reading it slowly enough to absorb all those things. For someone like me who's just like, hey, give me the action. What's going on? Right. If I don't get the action right up front, which there is some action right up front, it's like, oh, snap. Okay. Um, but I'm like, all right, it's a slow burn. That's always my it's a slow burn, but it's okay. But no, this was great. It was a great first issue. I thought it introduced the new status quo really well. Like I said, there's a major shift for the Superman or the Daily Planet editorial office, and I'm like, that's going to be interesting to watch unfold. There are the proposition that Lex has for Superman again is just awesome, and this just feels like it's going to be a fun sort of wacky great ride. So it was a good first issue, a great first issue. I enjoyed it quite a bit. And yes, I agree. Although I haven't seen a ton of the Superman anime series, it did remind me of it. There's actually a page in the book that like very specifically looks like Superman the animated series. I go to it without spoiling anything. Let's see. All right, yeah, I can show you this one panel. Like that's Bruce Timm if I've seen Bruce Timm. So it was cool. It was cool. I very much enjoyed it. But yeah. So this is one of those books that like you read it once, you're like, oh, okay, this is cool. This is good, But you read it a couple times, like, dog, the art, again, the art. I'm gonna show you this panel because this panel's dope. Like, come on. Tell me that's not awesome. What else can I show you? Again, I don't want to spoil anything at all. So, yeah, I'm just out of an abundance of caution, I'm a chill. But you got to read this book. This might be among the best art that I've like seen in my comics journey. Um, and the more I'm looking at it, like I said, I like to give my gut reaction. So I'll read a book one time and assign it a number rating. But I mean, this has everything you want in a comic book. There's some action, there's a good bit of heart. It explains what's coming up, it explains what's happening, presents a new threat, teases something coming in the future. Like you get all of that in this issue. There's really nothing to complain about in this one. So I'm definitely upgrading my rating. I'm giving it like a 9.5. It was dope. Shout out to Joshua Williamson. And that's pretty much all I've got to talk about tonight. So Superman #1 is definitely worth your read. I didn't want to spoil anything, so I didn't. But Superman #1 is definitely worth your read, worth your time. There are other books that I think are worth your time. Gargoyles finally like won me over. Like, I'm not all the way not confused, but I'm not completely mystified. So there's that. What do I have left to read this week? I still got to read Nightwing, Flash, DC, World's Finest, basically all of DC's slate this week. Also haven't read Amazing Spider-Man number 20. Can't even lie, I'm not crazy excited about it, but that's what I read this week. Some interesting news in the comics world this week. Interesting news. We know what Hickman's getting into, relaunching the Ultimate Universe or revisiting the Ultimate Universe. Night Terrors is coming. Horror is not my thing, so I'm not crazy excited about it, but we'll see what the teasers and stuff dictate as time goes on. JP says he would totally recommend Local Man #1 from Image. I was thumbing through, so I'll give you some like inside baseball, right? I thumbed through I thumb through like upcoming books. I don't get to read them, but I do at least get to like see what's going to get stocked and kind of reserve stuff every now and then. And Local Man, I saw it. I hadn't read up anything about it, and I was like, "Oh, this looks cool," but I didn't pick it up. But then I saw Rock and Robbie's review this morning or yesterday, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds interesting." So if it's still on the shelf this weekend, I might grab it. But I'm already over budget for this week, by not a little bit. So probably won't grab it. Actually, I'll grab it digitally in a few weeks when Amazon's got it discounted to like $2. I have not read Batman vs. Predator. I have a single issue of a Batman Predator crossover, I want to say. Like, it's not the Batman vs. Predator graphic novel. I want to say it was a miniseries. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm misremembering. But I read a couple pages of it. I didn't read the whole thing because I don't know anything about Predator, so it doesn't do it for me. But anyway, I'm rambling. And how many covers of Darkwing did I grab? I only grabbed two. I grabbed this one, and I grabbed, where is it? This one. So 2 Darkwing covers for me. There is a third. Now that I think about it, there's a ratio variant, but it's only a 1 in 10, so it's probably like a $5 book instead of a $4. So I told them to hold that for me. So 3. Sue me. And I got this one because Quacker Jack was actually on the cover. But yeah. So that's going to do it for this episode of The Hangout. Thank you guys for rocking with me. As you can see, I'm a little tired, so I'm going to go. And we'll be back here next week at Sunday. We'll be back here next week, Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll talk comics. We'll talk whatever we'll talk, actually. I don't know. I never know until like a couple hours before. But we'll definitely talk about comics, and it'll definitely be dope. So until then, stay awesome. Thanks to all the people who were rocking with me. Thanks again to the channel family and to Organic Price Books. If you want my comic book recommendations for the week, go to thisweekincomics.com. I will send you an email in the morning letting you know what I thought of most of this week's or a few of this week's books, but also giving you recommendations on books that you should pre-order this weekend ahead of their final order cutoff. So go to thisweekincomics.com. You might get lucky like Bunkmaster B and win a comic or two. You never know until you subscribe. So that's all the stuff I got to plug. So until next time, thank you. Thank you guys for being here, and I will see you again soon. Peace.